Told my brothers get bread up. Let's get this bread up. No matter the pressure, always hold your head up. I'm stacking this bread up.
What's up, everybody? It's Wiz. I'm here with my boy Sid. We're happy to finally bring to you guys something we've been talking about, we've been discussing and planning for a while, called the Man Cave. What it is, it's a conversational platform where we just want to bring to light certain issues, certain things that we go through, certain things that we see other people go through. So like I said before, it's super conversational. We're going to be super transparent. We're going to bring you into our lives as entrepreneurs, as recent college graduates, and as Black men in general, just the things that we go through from racism to along the whole spectrum. We'll show you how we're adjusting to things as we grow and as we develop as young men. And then we'll also, and my favorite part about things, that we'll be answering a whole bunch of questions that are sent in to us, different questions about people's lives, people's relationships, things people are going through at work, at the workplace, and just giving our advice and where we stand on certain topics and issues. The Man Cave it's called the Man Cave, so it's really from the male perspective, but don't be afraid, women. You'll be getting a chance. We will be bringing some women on and different females on to give us light on the female's perspective on certain issues as well.
Again, guys, I'm glad to do this with Wiz. I selected Wiz for a reason, not just because we went to college together, but the things that Wiz is doing is phenomenal. His mindset versus my mindset is definitely like a yin and a yang a little bit, but we both meet in the middle. So I felt like he was the perfect candidate for me to do this with. And like Wiz said, a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about is going to be conversational. It's going to be from our own experiences. This is not, we don't want people to think that this is the end all be all. This is just from our perspective and my perspective and his perspective. So we love that you're tuning in and you could get a different aspect from an African-American male perspective as well too. And how we're going to start this is that I'm going to ask Wiz some questions, and then maybe the next series, the next segment, Wiz will ask me some questions, and then there we're going to base it off of as a conversation. So the first question that we're going to dive into as of right now that I'm going to ask Wiz is, how has COVID changed your mindset?
And just for the viewers, just so you guys know, these are questions that were sent in to us. We put on a poll about a week or so ago, and we got a whole bunch of questions. So we'll just be going through that. But in terms of my mindset being changed, I wouldn't say it's changed so much because I'm, like, you know me, I'm always a focused person. I've always been driven. But one thing COVID did show me is that anything can happen at any time. Literally, the world was flipped upside down. The world was put at pause, and it's something none of us expected. Nobody was completely prepared for, and I think it showed all of us, not just me, that this is something that can happen. This is something that we need to be prepared for. Life throws anything at you whenever, without you expecting it. So it's just always, I'm always here. I'm always ready to go. I'm planning for the future a lot more. Dotting my I's, crossing my T's type of thing.
Mm-hmm. You know, what's interesting, Wiz, is that I know this person asked this question to you, but what I want to ask to you is that in COVID, what was probably your highs and then what was your lows during this year?
You were gonna laugh, but my low was probably couple lows. One was that I gained a lot of weight during COVID. Like I was really like lying to myself that I was working out. Like I was working out, but it's not the intensity like a backyard workout. For me in general, it's not what I'm gonna get out of the gym. Like just I feel like this mentality wise, when I go in the gym, I'm going harder than it's in my backyard. I can stop at any time type of thing. So I gained some weight. I lost this since, so don't worry. But yeah, some weight, and that troubled me a lot. I also, like, and we spoke about this too. I got out of a 3-year relationship early in the COVID thing, so dealing with that, those are probably my two biggest lows. Like, I didn't. The thing with COVID, like, a lot of people dealt with a whole bunch of stuff. When I seen it happening, I tried my best not to let it affect my life too much.
Yeah.
So even those things, the one about gaining weight, yeah, that's quarantine, but so that's because of COVID. The relationship one is not really too much because of COVID. Because, like I said, I didn't want to have that excuse. I know everyone's making excuses, but I didn't want to have that excuse.
So, how long were you and your ex dating at that point before COVID happened?
Before COVID, 3 years.
3 years. That's interesting because my recent relationship, my last relationship, we just started dating last August. So we were basically building the blocks right into COVID. So you see how with yours, you were more like, you're not really going to blame COVID for it. And I'm not blaming COVID for mine as well, but I would say definitely COVID did hit our relationship in a negative way a bit because how would I say this for the viewers? Like, when you're spending a lot of time with someone that you've known for just a little bit of time, you start to get used to that person's ways too quickly, as in, you're in the house with someone forever and you're like, man, like, you get tired of that person, So for me, that's how for COVID it affected me.
Was it a thing where I feel like, so you're saying that you felt that COVID caused y'all to take steps in your relationship that you weren't ready to take, type of thing?
100%. I feel like some of the things that was pretty interesting was the fact that a lot of her friends were residing in New York at one point. And if you think about it, let's put this in perspective. If COVID would have never happened, me and her probably would have never been in the house all day. We probably would have been doing the same activities all day. She would have been doing things with her friends. I would have been doing things with my friends. I would have been doing things with the brands that I work with, keeping busy. But I feel like because of the fact that COVID happened, her and I didn't get to experience that. So what we experienced in 4 months and a half was basically we were prisoned together. And that can get annoying. Like, you have siblings, and you're like, this person's annoying, So yeah, I wouldn't say everything was on COVID, but I would say definitely it played a huge role into our relationship. And that was interesting. That was an interesting grab at that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. One of the people sent in, and it's, since we're on relationships, it's kind of on the same thing, but it's to do with interracial relationships. I know you were in an interracial relationship as well. What has your experience with interracial dating been? And then I'll just piggyback off that for the next one. What advice do you give to someone that just started an interracial relationship?
So the first one's how has it been for me being in a interracial relationship? Okay. So I've been in 2 interracial relationships. Both were, I think the biggest thing I took from both of those relationships were, one, I didn't have enough time to find out what I want and who I want. Like, what I want and who I want. So my last relationship ended a couple months ago, and then my other relationship ended in 2018, and then I dated the next girl in 2019. So I didn't have enough time to, like, give myself a break from a 4-year relationship and hopping into another relationship. So that was another incident that happened that made me realize I need to give myself some healing, give myself some time to understand what I want. And I say this to everyone, like if you're about to be in an interracial relationship, do not fetishize it. Do not, some people get into it because they're like, I've heard people, you probably heard it too yourself, where people are like, oh, we would make cute babies.
Sure.
Right. Or
Yeah.
you would have people attracted to a person for the wrong reasons. Oh, he has tattoos. Oh, he's he has a nice body, or you know, he has nice eyes and stuff, or she has nice eyes, vice versa.
Mm.
But what ends up happening is people don't understand that being in an interracial relationship in this modern day, it's not as easy as people think it is. You know,
On that real quick.
go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying you expand
Oh,
on that real.
oh, so
Yeah.
for example, you got to think about it. You have different cultures sometimes that collides, different ways that one side does things, and one side, you know, this is how I grew up, and then this is how this person grew up. So you're mixing that together, and that ends up being a huge, huge factor in that relationship. And I think that was my two relationships. What I wanted to harp on was that if you are not ready to voice who your partner is, and you're not ready to defend that partner against your friends or your family, don't do it.
Mm.
Do it. Because all you're doing is you're creating a society where you're building more racism, to be honest. Let me tell you how, for example, I'm just using the example. If I am Arab and I'm dating someone who is Hispanic, I had one bad incident with that person who's Hispanic, right? And their family didn't like the fact that I was Arab, right?
Mm.
After that, they treated me in a very negative way. What am I going to think of Hispanics the next time?
Mm.
It
Mm.
gets deeper than that. What you're doing out here, you're hurting people's outlet on other people. I know people could say, well, just because there's one bad apple doesn't mean all bad apple. I mean, that doesn't mean everyone's a bad apple. That's true. But in the same token,
Trauma. It comes down to trauma. If you had a bad experience, it's just like
exactly.
you're just gonna shy away from that. That's just a natural human reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like with interracial relationships, and it's kind of piggybacking off what you're saying. Like
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to not just understanding someone,
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to understand someone and where they came from and why they do the things they do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's really the zeal, the want to. The
Mm-hmm.
person, both sides have to have the want to.
The one.
Otherwise, the moment you don't understand someone,
Mm-hmm.
you start to resent them. You start to, like you said, like you start to think, this, that, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
And being in an interracial relationship, you have to realize that even in a normal relationship, you're coming from two different spectrums, no matter what. But
Mm-hmm.
interracial relationship, it's guaranteed that you don't know how I was brought up. I don't know how you were brought up.
Mm-hmm.
We come from two different cultures. We come from two different ways of doing things. Our families are different. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole bunch of opposites,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to make that gel somehow over a long period of time, or however long you guys are together. And like I said, for me, it's just the biggest thing is the want to, the zeal to understand that other person, because you're gonna, if you love them and you want to understand them, you're gonna do whatever you can to try to understand them and put yourself in their shoes. Like that's very big, putting yourself in someone else's shoes and knowing that, hey, if this guy's dealing with this, his family, he comes from a broken home, this, that, like it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you have to want to understand the person before you can actually understand the person.
That's so interesting. I wanted to ask you this. What do you think happens when friends and family get involved?
How do you mean? Like,
Example, this girl or this guy can be of a different race, right? And let's say their friends are all the same, they're the same race as her.
mm,
Now they're dating someone else from a different race. Do you think some of the times that friends can give they could give good advice on what to do and what not to do, especially if they've never been in that position. What do you think about that? Or
So
parents?
your friends are a big thing in relationships. Like it can either derail a relationship or improve it. Like your friends are your friends for a reason. Like you trust them, you want to get advice for them. Those are the people you're gonna go to for advice.
Exactly.
But it's up to me as a male to look at my friends, or even a female to look at her friends and look at how they are. Look at the relationships they've been in. Be smart about it. Don't go to someone on advice of something that they've been going through themselves. Like they're not gonna be able to give you something. Like they're not gonna be able to give you anything tangible at least. And if it's affecting them negatively, they're only gonna give you advice that's gonna affect you negatively.
Negative, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
same thing even with family, is even as touchy as that could get. If I don't even know how to say this the nicest way, but like let's say hypothetically a female wants to go to her mom about advice about anything. But her mom, that's not what her mom, like her
Yeah.
mom did the opposite, but you're asking her to tell you to do this. Like, I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah.
a lot of times people let other people get in between a relationship.
Yeah.
And it just comes with bad advice. And I know a big thing with females and some females that I've dealt with, like, and even seeing my bros deal with other females, like females do a good job of bringing their friends down with them.
Yes.
So they'll see
Yeah.
see their friend in a happy situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, and I don't think they do this on purpose. It's just a subconscious act. They want you to be where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they're gonna give you advice, give you all this, oh, he ain't shit, this, that, to bring you to their level, and now let's be at that level together. Like a lot of times, and I think that it's something that females should look at, and even guys too. Like, make sure your friends want the best for you, because at the end of the day, they can be derailing you. They can be bringing you down without you even knowing. And half the time when you look back at it, it's too late.
Yeah, no, wow. And to those that are watching, me and Wiz did not rehearse this. This is off the dome right now. This is not something we rehearsed, you know.
Not facts. It's always gonna be off the dome. Like we said before, is this platform is just to have a conversation, spark conversation. We want you guys to comment at us. We want you guys to DM us. Like we said, we're just trying to interact and just grow personally and whoever we can affect growth in. That's what we want to do. So yeah.
Before we
You
get
want to move on to you want to
Oh no, I was just going to speak on that last part before we get to the next question. Yeah, no, guys. I mean, I'll share an incident that happened with me with my recent relationship where I'm not going to mention anything. So I'm not going to mention anything too detailed. But I dated this girl where her friend had an issue with me, you know, and I was like, yo, like, what is wrong with this girl? Like, I'm being nice to her, like I'm buying her pizza, like I'm trying to like spark her conversation, but for some reason she didn't mess with my vibe. And I could understand if she felt like, oh, this guy's a cheater, he's trying to play my friend or XYZ. But I'm like, I'm treating your friend like the best right now. Like I'm
probably jealous, bro. That's what I'm talking about, bro.
Yo, and I was trying to tell my ex at the time, I'm like, yo, like I want to be cool with your friend. And she was like, why does it matter if you're cool with my friend or not? I'm like, it does matter.
It matters like that's who you're around when I'm not around. Yeah, exactly. Like if I'm not cool with her, or even if it's you, like you're not cool with my guy, like what is that? Like what is that? Like that makes no sense. That just means that when she hoeing at the club, she gonna invite you to because she don't fuck with me anyway. So It's like, what do you mean? Like
it's crazy, man. And I mean, to end it, I was just like, I mean, I was like, I remember this one incident. Like you spoke about friends and their incidents. So one of her friends is like is engaged to like a 40-year-old man, and her friend is our age, so about 23, 24, right?
Okay.
She's never been in a serious relationship until she met this guy about 2-3 years ago. It gets better. It gets better, everyone.
Oh
and
shit.
my ex goes to this girl for advice. But what's interesting about this story is that this girl she left the United States to go live in a whole different country to move in with this guy, left her family behind, left her friends behind. And I asked my ex, I'm like, well, how do you feel about this guy? She was like, I think he's a POS. If you know what that means, everyone, you know what that means. She was like, I don't like him. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. She told me an incident that happened.
Explain for those who don't know what it means.
Oh, POS?
Yeah.
POS is a piece of SHIT. That's what it is. So I was like, why? And she was like, one night, she told me an incident. One night, her friend called her dude and was like, hey, it's late at night in Brooklyn, 2:00 in the morning. She just got back from somewhere. She called her dude. She was like, hey, can you come out and like walk me inside? Like, I feel kind of unsafe in this neighborhood. The dude was like, I'm in bed already. You'll be fine. Hung up the phone, right? I'm like, wow, if that was my ex and she called me, I know I would have been a little bit annoyed, but I still would go down though, just because that's my girl, you know. I want to make sure she gets safe. So to sum this up, my ex is going to this girl for advice where she's in a relationship with a guy that's not even treating her well. So you got to put that into perspective. Like, what we're trying to say here is choose who you go to for advice.
For sure.
I can't go to Wiz about marriage advice because Wiz has never been married.
I've never been married. Like, you feel me? It's like, yo, like it's like for me, and like we said, like, and like this is again a side note. Like, I want it for the females that's watching this, don't feel like we're downing or putting male. This is just a man's perspective. This is just our perspective. So feel free to hit us up and challenge that. But I feel like that's just a big thing in females. Like, I just feel they don't choose who they go to advice. Go to advice for, period. Like, properly. I mean, so I don't know. But let's because of time, let's move on to the last two questions. It's kind of along the same stance. And obviously today, I guess you guys wanted to find out about relationship stances. So a couple of most of the questions are to do with relationships. But like we said, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of subject matters. So the next question is, do you think it's acceptable to culturally appropriate but still have a bias against someone?
Oh yeah, I remember the person that sent me this. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah, you want to speak on it, or you want me to speak on it?
Okay, let me do you think it's acceptable, culturally appropriate, and still have a bias against someone? I feel like bias and even just like prejudice, and as much as we train ourselves not to feel certain ways about certain types of people and all that stuff, some things just come natural. I feel like it's just when you have, like, even with me personally, when I have a bad thought, when I have a bad feeling or something, it's really how you channel that energy, and you yourself be conscious about that thought, be conscious about that energy, be conscious about that feeling, and how you're going to channel it, and what you're going to give out from that thought or whatever. So it's not, I don't think it's unacceptable, because as long as you know and you have that thought and you don't exhibit that feeling, but you say, hey, I shouldn't be thinking this. No, that's not true about these type of people. That's not that. And you're not giving that off to the next person, giving that energy back out to the world, you're good. But if you go and you say, oh, I'm good with all these people, blah, blah, but then behind closed doors or behind other group of people, you're talking smack, or you're acting a certain way, being biased against different people, like that's a whole different story. That's what I can't stand for sure.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I know this wasn't a question from someone, but this is a question from me to you. How do you feel about this scenario right here? Let's say you have a person who's a doctor, right? And they see multiple different races, right? And when they
Okay.
see different races every day, they come home and they talk crap about a certain type of race that they saw. For example, this person's a doctor. You're in hands of many people's health. And the
Mm.
thought you see when you see this race, oh my God, I gotta see this Russian guy. Oh my God, I gotta see this Somalian guy.
We
Oh,
can't. I would say to that, we can't. We just can't have those type of
you
people.
can't have
Those
a
people, yeah, they shouldn't be caring for people's lives. Like
no.
they get the frick up out of here, man. Like
You know what's
those type of people, like that. Especially if you're a doctor, you're caring for people's well
right,
being,
right.
life. Like that's how. Like and it happens too. Like the
Yes.
sad part about it happens. I know a whole bunch of people who are on the front lines during COVID. And the way that African American people are treated, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Can you hear that?
I heard a little bit of it, not too much.
Yeah, that's my watch. She going crazy right now. I don't know
Oh,
why.
that's your washer?
But yeah,
Oh,
but especially during COVID, like I was hearing that a lot of minorities were being treated different ways. Like, and I just think that especially in somewhere like the hospital and the healthcare industry, like when it comes to access to different stuff, like we're in 2020. There's no need for that. No need for that at all. Like, and all of that needs to be abolished. Like, that needs to be gone from a lot of industries, bro.
yeah, man. I mean, about the culturally appropriating things, I feel like we have a lot of people. I remember when we were in college, right? We know people who would blast rap music, they would
Mm-hmm.
blast Caribbean music. I'm not gonna say what type of people they were, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
And
sir.
but when it came down to us going up to them and approaching them to talk to them or hanging out with them, it was always a certain type of biased or a certain type of. So
And
basically, you
you know
probably.
why?
Go ahead, go ahead.
You know why I left?
Yeah, I know. Are you exactly? No, bro, and that's where it's crazy. I know people who literally listen to music from me and Wiz's people. These are our people, but then when it's time to defend us,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't ready to defend us.
Oh,
So I.
well, that was a big thing, even with the election and just even in
Mm,
politics and
mm,
a whole bunch of stuff. Like we can go on and on about issues like that. Like it's just that at the end of the day, they accept our culture, they love our culture, but do they love us? That's what it comes
yeah, yeah,
to.
no, yeah, yeah.
Let's on that note, let's move on to the last question. This is a kind of broad question, and trust me, I could go on and on about this one. So it's what is the problem with our generation today with dating?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you start. You
Yeah,
start.
okay. The game has gotten advanced.
What do you mean by that,
What I
man?
mean by that, let me say this, right? The only thing that's changed a little bit is our generation has technology. It's because it's more easier to reach out than it was back then. Back
Mm,
then, 20 years ago, before iPhones, all that, you had to approach a girl, but you also had to have a certain type of status to even approach a girl.
you have to carry yourself a certain way, like I like the thing with that too. I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel like women don't even appreciate that anymore. Like
Ooh,
they don't appreciate the confidence in a man. They don't appreciate the way he carries himself. Like his I wouldn't say social status because that's not a big thing, but
right,
even I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like it's a movie to them. Like they set up different scenarios in their head
right,
based off social media, based off non-fictional stuff that
right,
they see on TV and social media and with celebrities and all that stuff, and they try and put it on a man. Like
right.
he like with the what was the Sweetie and Quavo shit. the
Oh,
icy,
Birkin bag incident, right? Was it that?
well, that too. But I'm talking about that's a whole nother issue because that you're talking about literally a bag that only 1% of the population can even afford,
Right,
and
right.
you have a celebrity gassing y'all up talking about if your man not getting you a Birkin, your man not getting you like that's ridiculous. And women, like, not all women, again, don't get me wrong, because I know we're gonna have some backlash. Like, I'm gonna have some friends hit me up like, what are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of women look at that and it's like, yeah, you're right, and they carry themselves this way, and it's like, I feel bad for you because you're chasing something that's non-existent, like, especially in your realm. Like, you don't even be around these type of niggas. Like, what do you be like? But yeah, bro, like, it's just, I don't know. But I was even talking about the snowflake thing when he slid in the DMs.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you so
Yeah.
icy with Hattie," and like,
Yeah.
nigga, like that's not real life. Like, I
No.
guarantee they met before that or something. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that's not real life. And I'm not big on even the DMs thing. I be telling my boys, like,
Don't do it.
that shit is ass, bro. Like,
Yeah.
like, that shit is ass because especially females, they be gas. Like, well, they over here screenshotting and shit. Like, I don't like that shit.
Nah, I mean, to that note right there, I mean, for me, I feel like this for a guy and a girl, like, if someone slides into your DMs and stuff, right? You have to put in perspective right there. Would this person have approached me in public?
Mm,
And if they
Like,
didn't, oh, go ahead. They probably would. Let's say they
how
would.
can you really know though? How would you know?
You would never know. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when someone does do that, maybe it's just because we have been conditioned in our generation that that's a safer way of getting rejected than going in person. Because when was the last time you seen a female go up to a guy? Unless at a bar, maybe they're like, "Oh, you want to dance or something," but I don't know. And we're not going to just speak on females, but we're just speaking on his DMs solely. Like,
Well, I feel like I definitely feel like we need to normalize women sliding in DMs. Like, to my ladies out there, I'm gonna look at the camera. Where's my freaking camera? To my ladies out there, if you want something, go get it. Go slide in that man's DMs. Go talk to him. Like it's not that. A lot of times, like, women, like, a lot of females these days, like, with the whole DMs thing, it's like I would say it's been going on for like 7 years now with like social media. Like, Snapchat came through like around 2012, 2013. Like, it's been going on for a while now. So females know the game at this point. Like, they know like how a man's gonna come, like, in terms of like if he's just trying to like get with you type of thing. Like, like, females know the game a lot. And to my man out there, like, y'all gotta switch it up.
Yeah.
But like but like female, I challenge females to switch up the game. Like, especially with COVID around too. Like, we're not outside. A lot of people aren't meeting new people. A lot of people aren't doing stuff. Like, if you want a man, he don't know that you want him a lot of the time. Go after that, man. Like, go get yours.
Yeah. I mean, closed mouths don't get fed, man. And I
You
mean,
feel me?
they don't. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, one of the things is like you got to put it this way. You know, as females, if a guy slides in your DMs, you know 9 times out of 10 what his intention is.
It depends, bro.
It
You
depends
can
on,
assume. You can assume.
But
You can assume.
let's say this then. How he slides into your DMs. What is the conversation, like how Sweetie, what's her name? Sweetie?
Yeah.
How she was approached by him. I mean, he obviously cuffed her. So I don't know. Like, I guess, like you said, we can only assume off of men, but for females,
All I know is, bro, like, the DMs is one thing, and even if you catch me in the DMs, like, I need in-person interaction. Like, I don't mess with this social media at all. Like, when it comes to relationships. Like, and that's like, again, leading back to the original question that the person had. That's it. Like, social media is a huge problem with relationships these days. Another thing that I have a problem with relationships, and it's kind of like on the female, knocking females again. Y'all gonna hate me with this show, right? Y'all females gonna hate me. But I feel like women stopped, how do I put this? Like, women they expect too much from a man nowadays. Like, you should expect a lot from a man, don't get me wrong. And like, your man should do a lot for you. At the end of the day, that's your support system. That's your everything. If y'all in a committed relationship, like, you should be able to depend on that man. Mm-hmm. But to start off, like, and even within a relationship, I feel like women, like, it's always take. They forget, even if you're like, a guy can be doing a lot for a woman and they won't even like acknowledge it. Like, and the moment he does something wrong, it's like, you ain't shit. Like, it's very do that. Like, I feel like they're women are quick to forget these days, and when being that they're quick to forget, when you do that one thing wrong or something happens in relations or whatever, they're not like, women aren't building up men no more. Like, they're not. Then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like in terms of like, they expect a lot. Like, it's very like egocentric and just like all about them in a relationship.
Yo, I could speak on two things, and I want you to finish off with us on the last part of what is wrong with our generation with this. I used to give my ex, every Monday, I would get her a gift, right? I don't want no one of you guys to try this anymore because it's a lot of money. Every Monday since we started dating. No, even before we started dating, I was like, until we die. I was thinking at this moment, guys, that we're going to be together forever. Like, forever isn't everything, you know? I got her gifts every Monday just trying to get this girl, right? I didn't do it for, I think, 1 month. She said, what was wrong with me?
You feel me? Like,
what was crazy was she never asked herself, what did I do wrong for him to stop doing it? And if she would have understood that I'm not appreciating him anymore, it became almost normal. Like, it wasn't like, it was like, you're expected to do this for me. This is what I'm expecting from you.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can, that's cool. That's cool, but that's my problem right there. Like, that's cool if you turn that, if he keeps doing something and now you expect it, of course, cool, you expect it. But don't knock your man, like, and don't put him down, like, if he can't, like, ask why, like,
what happened?
For that 1 month you didn't do it, like, she didn't think to, like, oh, damn, why? Is something going on? Like, this guy's normally that. But instead of that thought process, she went straight to the he ain't shit. Like, that's my problem. Like,
And I remember a second thing was, every time we used to go to dinner, I used to pay all the time, right? Her friend told me that I stopped paying for the dinners and we started splitting it. I was like, okay, whether that's true or not. But the reason...
so that's what, you think that's what she was telling her friend?
That's what she was telling her friends. But the thing is, actually not true or not, it was true. I started splitting it because this is what I think, this is us as males talking about us as men. When we start feeling a girl and we start seeing that girl is not appreciating us, she doesn't know our value, she doesn't know our worth, we start treating you like a friend. We don't start treating you like the queen that we put on a pedestal anymore. And I think what happened in our recent relationship was that I feel like I put her on a pedestal and she didn't see that. I did one thing that was messed up. Not one thing, but our relationship went a little bit left. Instead of her remembering the good things, that, wow, he did used to pay for all our stuff. Instead of her telling her friends that, she said, look at how words are said. She said, he stopped paying. She didn't say, I don't know why he stopped paying.
Mm.
Try to make it seem like I just didn't want to pay, like I was like broke or something, or I wasn't being a good boyfriend. I was like, no, you never asked me why I stopped paying.
That's what I'm saying. Like that kind of like, and again, I'm gonna go back to my original point. Like I feel like maybe I didn't even say it right, but that's exactly what I mean by women stopped like wanting to understand man and build up a man, because as soon as something's going wrong, they're out. Or
Yeah.
not this again. This is not every woman.
No.
Because I know women out there who stick with their man through thick and thin. I know women who stick with their men after they cheated. That's a whole different story. We'll talk about that in another.
Yeah.
But it's just that like in general, like I just see it time and time again. It's like it's very all about them, and if something happens, it's how did it affect me, not why, or like you get my drift.
I mean, what was your last point on this, and then we could end this off, and then till next time.
Yes, sir. I don't really. I mean, we can always, again, like this platform is conversational. If you guys want us to expand on this topic, we definitely can. Hit us up. Hit Sid in the DM, hit me in the DM. But it's just social media is a big thing derailing relationships these days, and just perception. Females and even some males are so focused on what other people think. They're so focused on what the world's going to think about my relationship, what the world's going to think about this decision I made for my relationship that only affects you too, but you're worried about what other people think. And I think that's a big problem. And it comes down to we're in a new age for relationships, social media, all that stuff. And it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. So that I'll leave it at there.
Yeah, I will leave it out there. I mean, I don't know if most of you guys saw this story that I posted. I said something about don't expect that over here when I was talking on my story about how there's plenty of hidden racist people out here. You know? And Wiz said something like, in a relationship, guys, there's two people. All that matters is what you think and that other person thinks. Your parents' opinion doesn't matter. My parents' opinion doesn't matter. My friends' opinion matter, family's opinion matter, but at the same time, you have to understand no one knows what's best for you than you. Don't allow other people to manipulate what you think. Like, for example, right now is like, let's say this. You tell me, yo, Sid, you shouldn't be with that girl. You shouldn't be with that girl. You shouldn't be with that girl. But in my heart, I'm like, no, I want to be with that person, right?
Facts.
You have manipulated me to think that that person's not good for me. But I'm like, no, that person was fine. Unless that person was a murderer or something crazy, you guys.
But you know what, though? That comes down to, in my opinion, like, how strong, and that's why, like, even just like with females, like I don't want to deal with no weak-minded females, because that's what they get people to influence them, and even myself, like I don't want to be weak-minded, because that's weak-minded nature. Like if someone's gonna tell you something and you not gonna base like. You gotta be mentally strong in yourself and your decisions. It's great to ask for the advice from people.
Right, yeah.
Advice is needed all the time. Like you ask me for advice, I ask you for advice. Like that's needed, but we shouldn't be basing our decisions based off what other people think at all. Like that's a sign of a weak-minded person, in my opinion, and a sign of a person that I don't want to be dealing with for sure. Yeah.
I mean, guys, we hope that we'll have our last words. I mean, this is my last thing. We hope that this helped you guys out. We're definitely going to do more of this.
For sure. We looking at probably once a week, right?
Once a week. Yeah,
once a week.
We should have done this earlier, but now we got the semantics correct and everything. So
on the road.
Oh man, I mean, like we said, if you want to just talk anonymously, because I know last video I talked about with my cousin, you guys, a lot of you guys DM'd me anonymously. If you guys want to do that for me and Wiz, I'll tag Wiz in this. Wiz will tag me in this, so you guys can find us there. Yeah, do that, because I know a lot of people are going through some stuff right now, especially during COVID. So yeah, So what do you?
So we appreciate y'all. For those who had a chance to see this, we appreciate you. For coming into the man cave. That's what this is. Again, just our personal perspective and perspectives of different men that we're around, our friends, our family. We appreciate y'all. Expect definitely more from us. But for now, it's peace out.
Peace, guys. All right.